In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I would go about automating an e-commerce store using automations. Some of them are AI related, some of them are not, but essentially what we're trying to do here is to increase the result without spending huge amounts of money on ads. And I'm going to show you how to do that with automations and making your workflows more efficient. Okay, what we're looking into today. We're looking specifically at Shopify e-commerce stores. So there are many other platforms, obviously Shopify being the most predominant one if you are running an e-commerce store. Now keep in mind, these are operational automations that we're talking about here. So which means we're not running any ads, we're not doing more content, and there's no sort of secret software stack that will fix your automations all in one. This is looking at what your store is currently doing in terms of how many leads you're bringing in, maximizing the output from those leads that you're already doing. My goal here is very simple. It is to leave you with as many automations as you possibly can and to leave with a holistic idea of what sort of automations are out there. I do want to say though, e-commerce and info are probably one of the easiest places to see direct results in, and it's basically like the results that you get are they have such a small attribution window that you can implement these automations overnight, and then the next day you can already start seeing results. With more brick and mortar businesses, with physical businesses, locations, they tend to get a bit more murky when it comes to word of mouth and all these different other lead sources. But in e-commerce, especially, is very straightforward. It's very simple. It's basically just a numbers game, and I'm going to help you ramp up those numbers. The way I look at automations in general is they either achieve one of two things. They bring in more revenue or they bring in less expenses, which means you have to, and expenses counts as both monetary expenses and also time investments that you do. So you either spend less time or you bring in more money, basically. I have spoken to a few e-commerce owners and I've sort of broken down the main areas that require automations, and these are acquisition, so getting leads through ads, support, so customer support, fulfillment, and the actual marketing itself. So to finally get into what you can expect today, maximizing the value of leads that are paid for, making your customers feel taken care of, scaling past status quo using AI, and removing yourself from your brand. Okay, before we get started, this is super important because I cannot go over all the automations I had in mind for this video. So I've created this automation list. It has around 20 or so automations, so a lot more than I can go into detail. I will be covering the most basic ones and the most predominant ones, the ones that will move the needle a lot in your e-commerce store. However, if you want a more detailed breakdown of how every single automation works and also to get an idea of what other automations could be possible for your store, you'll find this resource linked below. It is super crucial if you are looking into shifting your operations and stepping away from them, eventually using AI and automations. So, okay, getting the most out of each lead. Checking your bleed through. Okay, so you're paying for leads one way or another, so you might as well make the most out of them. And the way we're going to do this is to focus our efforts. So instead of spending 10 hours a month on improving the shopping experience for the 70% or trying to bring in the 70% that doesn't care about your business realistically, you can spend 3 hours, but then just hone in on those 30% that actually care about your business and at the end of the day are actually going to convert on the products that you have for sale. Wasted money. Most of your revenue is still within your hands to recover. I think cart abandon rates, especially in 2024 or 2025, are around like 65 to 70%. Yeah, that's like 3/4 of your business right there gone. But the good news is that it is still within your reach to recover, and because you're collecting phone numbers, right? You're collecting emails, you're collecting phone numbers, you're collecting addresses, and the reason you're not making the most out of that 70% loss is because you're not doing enough with them. So these are a few questions that I'll be answering here. What other channels can you use to recover revenue, except of email, obviously? Are you able to follow up with fail pays or cart exits immediately? The answer is probably no. And that's why we have these automations in place. So what can be done? In terms of acquisition itself, your biggest blessing is that you're not limited geographically or by audience size because you're exclusively online. Okay, sure, if you're running a physical location and you have an e-commerce on the side, this doesn't apply, but that's even better. You have a physical store, you have a physical brand in a location that people can associate with. But usually, if you're purely online, you're not limited by where you are. You're not limited by the amount of people that you can reach. of course, depending on your product. So similarly with ads and online marketing, Facebook marketing, Google marketing, whatever, automations can be both for retargeting and lookalike audiences as well. They work perfectly fine in either of these two realms. Power of voice AI. Using voice assistants for e-commerce is like having 50 VAs in every single time zone on earth to run retargeting calls 24/7. Except you obviously end up paying 10 times less. And I'll actually show you an example right now. You may be familiar with this. This is something very similar to what I have built. And I'll just give a demo of it right here.
Hey, James.
I'm not interested, man.
Yeah, no worries. I hate calls out of the blue too. But I'm actually from Apple, and I saw you were checking out Vision Pro and were about to pre-order but left the page.
Dude, I don't
I was
have time
curious,
for this
what
right
had
now.
you looking into potential? Okay, I can respect that. Can I just ask one question before you go?
Fine, shoot. What's up?
Why did you decide not to pre-order the Vision Pros? I saw you changed your mind last minute.
Okay, and the agent
Quick.
basically goes on to close
Okay,
and
sweet.
send an SMS onto the customer. So what it does is basically it engages with the people that haven't checked out. So let's say they went onto your page, they went and created a cart, but they haven't actually checked it out. You can actually have an assistant that goes back and calls them instead of just emailing the abandoned cart flow. You can literally on the spot call them. This just adds tons and tons of potential when it comes to recovering revenue. Another thing in voice AI is the customer support. So you can have a very simple inbound caller. People can call into a number that you have online, which is hooked up to an AI assistant, and that assistant will then answer any questions that the customer may have, or they can make sure that the person gets a product recommendation, for example, on the phone, and it can also sell them on that phone, obviously, on that call, obviously. Google ads and meta ads. If you're in e-commerce, you're probably running ads of some sort. You're paying these corporations cash to get your names, and large sums of cash, by the way, to get your name out there. Make sure that you have set up a safety net for leads not to fall through. Any automations here will greatly shorten that attribution. So your biggest advantage with combining e-commerce and automations is that you can see instant results, right? You don't have to wait 20 to 30 days like in other niche areas. You can implement it today, and tomorrow your customers will be interacting with these automations and being nurtured by these automations. The difference with and without AI automation is like day and night, trust me. The goal here is basically to do anything to monastically reach at least a 50% reacquisition rate. So I would say with a lot of these, especially if you're calling your customers on the spot, you can easily get those rates down to like 40, 30%, where you have a majority of your customers not laying dormant in your pipeline, but they are actually interacting with you and they're engaging with you. Remember, these are your previously willing buyers that have already shown intent. To get to the place where you hit checkout and then just stop right before it, that already shows a lot of intent. So there's literally no higher qualified audience to sell to. The numbers on this, the conversion rates on this, are probably going to be extremely high compared to, let's say, running ads to cold traffic. And you can just ask yourself, I mean, are you more likely to read an email, let's say, out of 1,000 that you get a day, or are you more likely to pick up a phone call from an e-commerce store that you almost checked out and you have interest in and you like their product, but let's say you just didn't have the funds at the time? So it's quite straightforward. All right, making your customers feel safe. Now, this is a huge part of building a brand and also having your reputation, having your name out there in the e-commerce space. The process, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this, is very simple. You have your advert, which then leads to the offer. Then they become a lead, so they actually engage with the offer in one way or another. And then they convert, meaning that they actually go ahead and buy. So ads to offer, this is pretty much just your ad or inbound performance. This is like pre-automations, like there's not much you can do there. However, offer to lead, once they've landed on your offer, what measures are in place as a first touch point? Remember, they're still complete strangers at this point. Sure, you might have people that vaguely show interest, but you still have to teach them about your product and why your product is the best for the issue that they're having, or why your product is the most convenient for them. Lead to conversion. Here is where this is the last and crucial step in going from stranger to a paying customer. This is also great for us because then we can install one automation overnight and then we can get those dropout rates patched up. Now, how do you actually go about doing this? How to make your page their go-to? AI Client Manager. Chatbots are basically the number one go-to when it comes to customer support. With your store's knowledge base attached, they're super easy to set up and yield a very easy social ROI. These can be deployed to go through a list of questions with the prospect, and the AI recommends a product based on their responses. It's a lot less of a straight shot, and they can always just walk off, but it's a very quick win that you can install on your page. Customer Support Agent. This one's a bit more hands-on. This is a voice agent that answers general queries and information that's readily available. This can be like frequently asked questions, product descriptions, whatever you have on your page, whatever people ask about, basically. It's also great for weeding out bad leads. This goes for if you're doing high-ticket e-commerce, and if lead quality is a concern, not lead quantity. But usually there shouldn't be a problem. So I don't think lead qualification is such a huge thing unless you're doing like custom e-commerce and borderline info product. So active product tracking. This one's a bit more complex to set up, and I've not yet seen a system that efficiently does this. But similar to the one above, this one is handles live traffic right within the chatbot itself. So the way I would set this up is I would use a backend database like Airtable or Google Sheets. And by the way, all these tools you'll find them in the automations list below. But what you can do is basically pull data directly from Shopify, and you can have it so that the agent can then interact immediately with that data and tell the user, hey, your product is, let's say, has just reached the border of your country and it's waiting at customs or whatever. Okay, defying the laws of shopping using AI. How you can pull more weight. If a product was performing well 12 months ago, there's probably a high chance that it'll perform well. You can capitalize on these trends that sort of have 12 or 6 month periods. And there's nothing wrong with retrying after a while, right? And I think as an e-commerce owner, you probably know this. A stock keeping unit automation is very simple to set up, and it notifies you when it's time to start remarketing a product. Yeah, interest patterns often repeat themselves. So you can capitalize on these trends. And if you have an internal SKU automation that is made just for your inventory, and by the way, you can update this inventory as you go, this will immediately tell you when you can start remarketing some of these products again. This is my favorite one. As a customer, the only thing that's more frustrating for me than an out-of-stock item is the generic message that follows. You can easily have a voice agent prompted to send out personalized back-in-stock reminder calls the second a product quantity dips below, let's say, I don't know, 5 items or 10 items. If you have less than 10 items in your inventory, what you probably have right now is a sign-up form where you can click a button and then get added to a wait list. This is probably one of the worst ways to do it because one, people don't care. Like once you're off the site, you're going to find someone else that offers the same product. You are probably going to forget about it completely. What you can do is have these back in stock reminder calls. So let's say 2 months down the line, the user gets a phone call that says, "Oh, hey, this product that you almost checked out, we have it back in stock. Are you still interested? I can send you a discount code to get them back onto the website." So, and also in general, it'll help you manage a very, very low inventory threshold. This also adds unreal levels of urgency. I mean, probably not many e-commerce stores have that as of now. And just having that in your store will make you stand out immediately, even if it performs or not. Using your strengths. None of this was possible pre-AI workflows. We did not have, so e-commerce, I say 2017, 2018 was like the boom of e-commerce, but then with automations, you can sort of add another layer to it where you're almost creating another business model. It's like you're allowing yourself to take so much away from being a operator and letting AI do the work. So obviously these automations are active 24/7 around the clock, and they will really help you when it comes to saving time. Learning to step back. After you've done all of this, ask yourself, what would life look like after you've implemented such systems in your operations? Now, I am going off the assumption that you think of your e-commerce stores as a cash cow. So it's a high margin business, and and once you set it up, it prints, and you ideally don't want to be spending more than 4 to 5 hours a week maximum on upkeep and maintenance. As I said, ecom by far is the easiest niche to plug and play these systems in, and also they scale with you, right? Like you can scale the ads as much as you want, and the automations will keep up accordingly. This is your ticket to step away from the tasks that hold you back and the tasks that you've always found annoying. I can guarantee you that 80% of your work can be automated by AI workflows in this day and age. That being said, this isn't some do-it-all formula. This isn't just some magic solution to all your problems. Be ready to take over here and there, especially in the early stages of getting set up. The way I do it when I develop automations is I usually target a 15 to 10% fallout rate, which basically means that 15 to 10% of, okay, let's take customer support, for example. 15 to 10% of the tickets are going to go straight to you manually, and the automation is going to take care of, as I said, 85 to around 90% of the work. It'll answer them correctly, and it will answer them very efficiently. Okay, getting started. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out my resource. It's free. Also, keep in mind that you now have all the tools that bridge the performance gap that you are experiencing. Obviously, AI is an almost bulletproof vessel to take you to that point. And if I can leave you with one thing in this video is the entire switch can be just made with one simple question. So there's only one question that you realistically need to sit down and answer for yourself in order to transition into this new phase of your store, which is what task, if automated, would create me the biggest relief? Start there. If something instantly comes to your mind when you think about your store and in terms of what part of it would I ideally have automated, well, there you go. You have your answer. You can cross-reference this with the list that I've provided with you. And there's also a column for implementation, so you'll see exactly what tools you need and also what it does. So if if it adds revenue or if it saves you time, and then you can choose. You can basically pick and choose from there. It's like a menu at a restaurant. If you have any other questions, or if you found this useful and you want to see how specifically to apply it to your e-commerce store, you can find a link below as well to get in touch with me. I don't know if my waitlist is open at the moment, but if you do apply to work with me, you'll probably be put in a waitlist because I'm a little backed up at the moment. But if you have any questions or you need help implementing it, you can join there below to get started. When it comes to signing on new clients or onboarding clients, I do prefer quality over quantity. The waitlist is really the first place and the only place that I look to when I want to open a new set of client profiles. You can get in touch with me there below, and I'll see you soon.